Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, or good whatever time you're watching this video, I should say, and welcome to the SQ1 Champions League Week 2, Day 1 of this second season. This is a nice little, not live, but live game between Royal Reapers and Team Pogchimp. I am, of course, Viperoon. I'm joined for the first time ever by the Sarge. Sarge, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well, thank you very much, Viperoon. Thank you for the lovely introduction. I'm looking forward to seeing what some of these teams can do. Haven't seen either of them live before, but I've heard fantastic things, so can't wait to get us a good few matches of League of Legends tonight.
Yeah, there are going to be a couple of great matches we're going to be casting tonight. Of course, you're going to be watching this on YouTube. For those of you watching at home, so welcome. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're straight into picks and bans, ladies and gentlemen. Royal Reapers, of course, are on the blue side with Pogchimp on the red side. I've watched Pogchimp a little bit. They went 1-1 last week. I actually got to watch both of their games last week, which is pretty exciting. And of course, Royal Reapers, I watched them a lot last season, in the first season of SQ1. But looking past the teams for a second, let's look at the bans that we've got, because of course we are into picks and bans, ladies and gentlemen. What do you make of these 6 bans?
So, first thing to point out, the Mordekaiser has been banned away. It is being allowed through. Teams have able to select it if they want, but neither of them wanting to go against it, wanting to take it away because they haven't had too much time to practice yet. No massive surprises there. For the side of Royal Reapers, quickly bans Azir and Vladimir targeted at Leonardo in the mid lane. Those are his 2 most played champions, and I've heard he's a bit of a nightmare on the Vlad. So that will be Vertite, and meanwhile we're seeing Pogchimp take away the Sivir and the Lux. First few bans coming through. Aatrox and the Irelia could be flexed around, but looking towards the top lane for those at the minute.
Yeah, of course, that's quite a standard, flexible matchup, and I imagine, I'm going to put it out there a little bit, I expect to see this Aatrox and the Irelia go against each other, regardless of which lane they're going to be in. Both of them can be played in all the positions, the same positions they can be. Irelia maybe not so much jungle as Aatrox, but Aatrox jungle is a bit fringe anyway. And it looks like we're going to see the jungle pick locked in there for Panise Pineapple. One of the great engaged tank players we have in SQ1. We saw that a lot last season when he was on tap. And now we're going to see the SQ1 locked in for him.
Yeah, Sejuani very much in a similar style to his Zac play. That is his most played champion, and have found great success on it. So he'll definitely be feeling confident on the Sejuani. Still allows him to have that big, beefy front line, dive in and make some of these aggressive engages. But the bot lane duo will be picked up for the Royal Reapers here. The Caitlyn, the late game scaling crit-based marksman, she did get a little bit of a buff on the most recent patch, and the Morgana keeping her safe with that black shield, providing some level of survivability in lane against the things like the Sejuani engage and any hard engage we might see from Pogchimp's ADC and support duo themselves.
Yeah, it's a very aggressive. I remember playing against this many seasons ago. The Morgana Caitlyn bot lane was something that was very common because of the long range engage, the long range lockdown. You land someone binding, you put your soil down, you put your trap down, and the enemy marksman or support is dead, depending on who the support is. We are jumping into the second round of bans, ladies and gentlemen. Ryze has been the last pickup, and that's probably going to be going to Leonardo in the mid lane, which is a little bit different from what we saw him have true success on last week.
Yeah, it's not in his most played list of champions either, and we have to remember that Ryze did receive a couple of changes this patch. Whether you want to call it a full-on rework and enhance that meme even more is up to you, but lost the shield from his Q, but gained a bit of scaling with the ranks in his ultimate on it as well. So a little bit of a different playstyle to what we are used to, and now in our second round of bans we're seeing the Jarvan taken away from the jungle, and the Yuumi will be taken off the table as well, so not able to zip between the different team members and cause problems there with her healing.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at this team comp over on the side of Pogchimp, and I'm actually thinking the Irelia might be going mid, and I'm thinking that the Ryze might be going top, because we saw Lego playing Ryze top last week, and while it was in the game that Pogchimp eventually did lose out to Bittersweet Gaming, he was the one lane that was winning in that matchup, or wasn't getting destroyed in that matchup, so it could be a case of him going up there with Irelia, going on to Leonardo, who we saw his Yasuo last week, and we saw champions like that, so maybe that's a bit more in his wheelhouse. We do see the Olaf and the Zarya both taken away as well. Quite some interesting bans there, and the Braum is going to be locked in over on the side of Pogchimp.
Always a useful champion to have on your roster. A lot of safety that he provides, a lot of engaged potential as well with the concussive blows passive and the glacial fissure. Allows a lot of options and versatility. Will be picked up into the Caitlyn because he's able to just completely deny the ace in the hole with his shield. Really powerful tool to just stop her ultimate dead in its tracks. And we're seeing a Corki hover now. That is definitely going to go into the mid lane, we would imagine, meaning the Aatrox will be up in this top side, and like you were saying, could be faced up into the Rise up there. So it'll be interesting to see what the jungle pick is. I want to see someone who's going to pair well with this Aatrox and help him out, because he is going to have a bit of a hard time if Rise does move up there onto Lego, and the Trundle is something that could provide a little bit more pressure and some gank potential up here to help the Aatrox in that laning phase a little bit.
Yeah, if you're Trundle, you do want to be looking up towards the Aatrox, assuming that it is going to be the Rise going into that top lane. Of course, we're not entirely sure. These two champions are very flexible, could go around a little bit. Trundle's a bit of an interesting champion. He's always on the fringe of playability. Sometimes he gets played, sometimes he doesn't. He's one of those champions that doesn't always get changed all that much, but still sees peaks and troughs in his performance throughout the game. We are seeing the Jinx locked in, a champion who is very, very good at the moment just because she can deal out so much damage, and when you're in that bot lane, as you were saying earlier, the crit Caitlyn is very, very potent and aggressive going into that mid-late game. Jinx is maybe that turned up right the way to 11.
Yeah, and I do like the Jinx pick into the Caitlyn as well, because the Caitlyn provides a lot of range, a lot of safety to farm in lane, and although Jinx doesn't have quite the same level of range that the Caitlyn does, she does have a lot of tools to provide wave clear with her rockets, and also snipe out cannon minions, and land a couple of, long-range skill shots with the Zap as well. So I do like the choice that we've seen Pogchimp go for with the Jinx and Brown bot lane. I think it's a nice answer to what Royal Reapers have picked, and it's going to be a matter of seeing which of these ADCs actually gets ahead and is able to transfer that lead into big damage in the team fights throughout the mid-game stage.
Well, now we've got the two teams fully locked in. It will in fact be the Rise going to the mid lane. Leonardo will be picking up that one with Lego on the Aurelia in the top lane. So my first prediction was correct with the Aurelia Aatrox going up against each other, but calling Lego going on that Rise was a bit incorrect, as it is going to be Leonardo on that one. But now we've got the two teams locked in. Where do you think... I always ask this to my colour casters as we're in Champ Select. Can you kind of talk us through these two compositions? What are they both trying to do? What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? And if there's a favourite between the two compositions, what does that look like?
Yeah, definitely. So I think if we start with Pogchimp, this draft is a bit easier to dissect. You've got the Irelia, who's going to provide a lot of pressure in the laning phase and be able to move out. Once she's got one or two items under her belt, move out into a side lane as well. That is much the same story for the Rise. Yes, we said he's been tweaked a little bit, but still an absolutely devastating split pusher. So I'm expecting Pogchimp to split into the 1-3-1 kind of style. The Irelia and the Rise both have TP as well, so they can quickly form up with the rest of the team, get into fights that break out around the Baron, around objectives, and support their team. So that's going to be the kind of style they're going for, trying to split the map up and create pressure points all over that it can exploit. For the team of Royal Reapers, it's going to be a little bit tricky for them. They've picked up the Corki in the mid lane, and although he is a massive hyper carry in the late game, able to put out extortionate amounts of damage, he is also very squishy. If he is tagged by the Sejuani ultimate, caught out by the Irelia, he will go down very quickly. So I think they need to try and play a bit safer, a bit more in a blob form. It might go for the 1-4, putting Aatrox out into a side lane, trying to contest the Irelia maybe, but it's going to be a lot more reactive play, trying to catch out some of the members of Pogchimp and responding to these fights rather than trying to initiate them themselves, I would imagine.
So it's going to be a big case of, can you catch out the opposing team, or are you going to go for those big snowbally ARAM down mid? We've seen a lot of different styles within Square One. Of course, Season 2 is very different. It's a very different beast from Season 1. I don't know how much of Season 1 you caught, but there was a lot of, I don't want to call it ARAM style gameplay, but face rolling into the opposing team and stat checking them was a hallmark of a lot of the mid to lower tier matches in the Square One Season 1. But of course now we've had a massive upgrade in our teams. The player level is much higher, so these more nuanced compositions, as you've been saying and explaining, might be a better way forward. do you have any strong, hard predictions for us on who's going to come out of this game the winner?
Well, in terms of which team is going to take it, without having seen an awful lot of them play before, I'm going to hold off on those predictions just for now. But one thing that I do want to mention, since you were talking about the elo of these teams and how we've seen a bit of an upgrade, we do have a master player on our roster. Pogchimp down in the bottom lane, rude dude. He is on this Jinx and he is our master player. So I'm expecting a lot of attention down to this bot lane from both teams. Royal Reapers are going to be wanting to try and shut him down, make sure that he doesn't have as much of an impact on the game, whereas Pogchimp, the Sejuani can come down, the Rise with the Realm Warp. They have a lot of tools to try and dive this Caitlyn and Morgana and get this Jinx rolling and carry through their bot lane. So I think it is going to go their way. Top lane might become a little bit of an island, but we'll have to see once we actually get into the game how that pans out.
Yeah, I'm really excited to get into this one. I hope you are as well if you're watching at home. We've got a fantastic game in the SQ1 Champions League coming up very, very shortly for you. We've got Royal Reapers on the blue side versus Pogchimp on the red side. We're just loading into this one, as you say, master player in the bot lane. It's always special to see someone who's master or challenger in these kind of tournaments. They come in and some of the times they'll really just solo carry the game, and some of the times you'll look at them and you'll look at their allies and enemies who are maybe diamond, like high to mid diamond level, and you won't be able to see that much of a difference. So it's going to be a question of whether Rude Dude can do it all. I know last week when I watched him, he looked okay, but he didn't look brilliant just because of the true level of the BSG bot lane that was giving him many, many problems. But we are now going into game. We are just waiting for this one to load up, and then we'll be able to bring you the live action from the SQ1 Champions League. Do you think there's going to be any really good early action for us?
In terms of early action, I don't think there's going to be a massive amount. Neither of these teams have a really great way of engaging onto their opponents at level 1. And if either of these teams do, I'd say it would be Pogchimp looking for the invader. The Sejuani has the aftershock, so even at level 1, a massive amount of tankiness if she is able to land the Arctic Assault. The Brown passive could come through as well, but it is a bit of a risky play. Might not want to try and force something too early and risk falling behind in these games. I know I was casting a game yesterday and we had some early aggression at level 1. It backfired on the team that initiated it. They lost 3 members, flashes across the board, and the game was lost practically in the first 2 minutes. Nothing they could do. So have to see what the teams actually decide, but I'm expecting definitely from the side of Royal Reapers, a fairly passive level 1, level 2 mark, just looking for that line of scrimmage and trying to scale up into the late game a little bit more.
Yeah, very well done to fill in that pause for us. But, oh, no, I've been lied to. There's another pause. But, yeah, as you say, the Sejuani, the Arctic Assault into the Aftershock can do a lot of damage and make her very tanky. But, of course, if you're playing Sejuani and you take Arctic Assault level 1, your clear is so much slower at level 1 taking that buff. And it's a lot less safe as well, because not only do you lose out on the damage that your E is going to be able to give you, but you're also going to be losing out on the massive amounts of CC that it brings as well, because the blue buff or the red buff, I imagine Sejuani will probably start down on that blue side. You need to be locking that up to get those to get that damage in, because at level 3 it's going to be difficult for you to contest those Scuttle Crabs anyway against the Trundle at level 3. And if you want to hope in any sort of way of getting any kind of contest on there, you really need to be able to get down there, maybe get a ward in there and help out your lane so that they can give you a bit of priority there, because Sejuani into Trundle level 3 is not going to be pretty for her.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason why I don't think we are going to see any flashy players at level 1. There's a lot of options that Pogchimp do have, but it would all require taking skills that you don't necessarily want at level 1. Like you mentioned, the Arctic Assault, you can use it for that big engage at level 1 and catch your opponents out, but it hurts your clear so much if you don't get something from that it's too much of a risk. The Irelia has the stun as well, able to catch out multiple members, but you really want that Q for your early wave clear and getting that priority in lane. The only person that would really have the tools available to them that they actually want to be taking at level 1 would be the Brown with the Winter's Bite. But that in itself is only a slow. You still need people to be able to follow up from it. So I very much doubt we're going to be seeing anything level 1. Maybe a bit of aggressive posturing, a bit of poke going down, but anything more than that, I'm not too hopeful for a level 1 bloodbath at this stage.
You'd think, like, theoretically, you've gone through perfectly the theory of why it shouldn't happen, which means that it's
definitely going to now.
It's just gonna happen. It's gonna be a massive Raw Reapers invade or something, and then Pogchimp are gonna counter invade, and it's just all semblance of normality will just be thrown out the window. We have got a pause, I'm afraid, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, you're watching us on YouTube, so you can just skip through this, but sadly, we can't. So are there any champions that you really want to have a bit of a dissect on while we're waiting for our teams, just to make sure they're all connected and ready?
So I think the two champions I really want to highlight, like the matchup between, like you mentioned, we already know, broadly speaking, what the Aatrox and the Irelia do. We've seen them in pro play consistently for, I'd say, the past 6 months. So I'm not too interested in talking massively about those at this stage. I want to talk about the Trundle. We mentioned it in the draft phase about how you said it yourself. He's on the edge of playability. He's on the edge of viability a lot of the time. Sometimes he's looking absolutely fantastic, a real dominant force, and other times he's falling just below. And it has been a little while since I've seen Trundle in any kind of competitive tournament style game, but he does bring a lot to the table. His ultimate especially, stealing the stats and resistances from the opponent that he targets in the point and click style, is going to be very beneficial. If it does come down to these team fights, or more likely, we're going to see Pogchimp trying to split into these side lanes, put the Irelia, put the Rise out there, Trundle suddenly becomes a really viable option for Royal Reapers to try and shut those down. He can move into the side lane and take that fight with the Irelia in a one-on-one because he steals her stats. And yes, he still needs to be very careful about it. The Irelia will be very strong at that stage if we get to that point of the game, but it gives another tool that Royal Reapers can try and use to contest that and not cede all of his pressure automatically that would have done with, say, a Jarvan or a Rek'Sai that provides a huge amount in the early game, but then starts to taper off the longer the match goes on.
Yeah, and keeping your Trundle off your backline carries is, of course, a very nice thing to do. He's not the most mobile champion, we must say. His W gives him the speed up, but other than that, he hasn't got too much of a dashy situation. I remember talking to a caster I was working with a couple of months ago now about Trundle, because he was saying some nonsense about Hail of Blaze Trundle, which is pretty much irrelevant. But an important thing that he was saying is when you back then, Sejuani was one of the most busted, powerful junglers in the game. And he said to me, Trundle might actually be a viable pick here, because Sejuani, her passive and aftershock, if you can hit your ult on her just as she lands her CC on someone, you become pretty much unkillable, and she becomes surprisingly squishy. So she'll put herself in a bad situation, and then will not have the tanky stats to get out. Of course, she's had a little bit of a nerf since then, so that's kind of also a little bit of a counter nerf as we are back into play, ladies and gentlemen. But that might be something to watch out for when Trundle and Sejuani come against each other after 6, as we see both sides looking like they're going to invade, but they're not invading into each other, so nothing lost out in terms of stats just yet.
Swapping sides of the jungle, both teams moving as a 5-man unit, invading onto the other team's red buff, getting some deep vision down. It will give them an idea of what is going on, where the different teams are starting off here. So not likely going to be seeing any bloodbaths, and we're seeing pings coming out across the map. The teams have a good idea of what the others are attempting. So we'll have to see whether Royal Reapers decide to try and hang around on this red buff and catch out any members as they move up towards them. Looks like it could be a possibility. There's still 5 people grouped up. The Rise and the Sejuani are moving closer.
Oh, Trundle might be in trouble here. Pineapple is chasing down, but hasn't decided to take any of his crowd control at level 1. Pretty smart, honestly. We were talking about this for quite a while during the pause. You don't want to be doing that as Sejuani, so...
You're talking about something very smart there, and I have to interrupt you, I'm afraid. The Sejuani hasn't bought any items.
Oh!
Now, I don't know if this is a strange kind of strategy, because I actually saw quite a few people doing this recently when I've been playing. They'll take the first clear, as the first buff, sorry, they'll back, and then they'll get a double item, like getting that health boost back from the first buff. Now, as I say, I don't know if that is a legitimate strategy or whether it is just a mistake. But like you can see here, the Sejuani is now backed, got that Hunter's Talisman, got the refillable potion, and the Control Ward as well. So might have been considered, or might have just been a little error of judgment there. Trundle will be pulling ahead in CS early because of that.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I would imagine, because of the way that money works, it's probably a mistake over on the side of Penny's Pineapple's part, because you are just getting a red ward from that, and you've set yourself so far behind. And Trundle is a champion who's got a relatively safe clear. It's not... He does a decent amount of damage as well, so it's not the slowest thing in the world, and setting yourself this far behind, having to back so early and then come back without an advantage, as we see a flash in the bot lane early from Holy Luck support, not going to land the root though. I'm concerned that was a mistake, but we'll have to see how Pineapple does manage to bring it back, because when you're a tank jungler or a tank anything really, gold matters a little bit less than if you're one of these high damage or bruiser champions.
Not as devastating as it would have been on the Rek'Sai or the Jarvan, someone that wants to get that clear through as quickly as possible and pushing in for a gank. But we might be seeing a bit of action in the bot side jungle now. Trundle has pathed up onto this blue buff. They are aware that he's there, Sejuani coming down, but a level below. And we're seeing a collapse come through here now.
Fight, though. Jinx is already half health taking this one, but Braum is there, so is Pineapple. The Ignite is running. Here comes Corki, first blood onto a Mena. And now it looks like cleanup from Royal Reapers. They get a second, a double kill from Mena onto the Braum. Pineapple has the runaway tail between his legs, but does manage to pick up a kill in return over on the side of Holy Luck support. But that's a very, very nice play there from Royal Reapers. The quicker rotation proved to be decisive.
Both of those kills also went over to the Corki, so very influential for them. And we did see Pogchimp manage to pick up Morgana. She did go down to the Sejuani, but like you were just saying, that gold not quite as influential on the tank champions, on this jungler, as it's going to be in that mid lane. Corki getting that double kill early on will really accelerate him to these item spikes, get that Trinity Force even quicker, and we're seeing Trundle come into the mid lane again.
He is going for Leonardo. Leonardo's got the root though, but taking a lot of damage. The burn is down from Red Buff as well. It's going to be forced to flash away as we move down to the bot lane, but I don't think there's going to be too much going on down here. But a very well-timed gank from Trundle to get a little bit of pressure and that resource away from Ryze.
Yeah, beautiful use of the pillar there, preventing him walking straight under the tower, forcing him to go into the lane a little bit more and having to flash away at the risk of death. More posturing in the jungle here. Pineapple and Trundle are moving in onto each other. Ryze here to support as well. The pillar will be used to escape as a TP comes through from Corki into this mid lane.
Morgana's down on the side as well though. It looks like there's going to be a bit of a party in this mid lane. Support's already roamed, with Jinx and Braum being pushed under tower in the bot lane, meaning they're not going to be able to follow. But Morgana's wasting a lot of time down here. I should say up here in the mid lane, as we see Sejuani moving up towards top side. Nothing's really been done. Here comes the root. The root will land. Corki coming in with the not with the package, but with a lot of damage as he looks to chase down. Flash forward, no flash from Ryze, kill for a Mena.
Flash for the auto kill. We knew that the Ryze didn't have his flash there already. Leonardo forced to use it in that gank just a second ago. So a really nice use of the teamwork there. Morgana hanging around just long enough, being very, very patient, waiting for that opportunity. The wave was pushed in bot lane, so wasn't losing too much, just a little bit of experience, and rewarded the Corki with his third kill of the game so far. He is going to be an absolute terror in this laning phase as the Ryze gets put further and further behind.
And of course, last split we saw what a Mena could do with a lead on champions like Corki, and he's got a massive one here. 3 kills at the 6-minute mark. Yeah, that's great on any champion, but on Corki, who really wants to be getting that 1 or 2 item spike, it's just gonna feel so good for him in the mid lane.
Yeah, it definitely is. We haven't seen a whole lot of action top side yet. I know the camera just panned up there. Both champions farming up very evenly. We've seen already with the push priority. Not really surprised because of how she's able to clear those minions with the Q, but neither champion really wanting to commit to an all-in. We'll have to see whether that remains the same at level 6. Bit of trading back and forth now, but nothing too devastating to shout about just yet. As the Sejuani's pathing down, looks like we could be seeing another gank in the bot lane here. Caitlyn caught out.
Reward though, so Caitlyn has been slowed by the zap. Here comes the Sejuani CC. It's not going to land. There's not 4 stacks on her E for anyone. She's going to be ignited and forced to Arctic Assault away as Trundle turns up just to make sure that there's no shenanigans going on down there. Won't be anything too much. He's going to move back into the enemy jungle as Corki clears out Redwood.
Lots of summoners used there in this bot lane, but like you said, Trundle has moved up into this jungle. Could be getting collapsed on here. Finds Sejuani, will be taken
damage coming
low.
In from Raum, though. Here comes the assistance. Penny's Pineapple gets the smite to get the heal, and now Trundle's the one in trouble. He is going to go low. Goes down to Rude Dude, the master player, on that Jinx. Very well played from Penny's Pineapple, but his life was definitely saved by Muppet.
Yeah, a little bit too over-aggressive for Wonderboy there. Tried to move in, thinking that the low members of Pogchimp wouldn't want to try and contest that because of that failed gank in the bot lane. But the Rise was able to move down. Leonardo with a Realm Warp coming in and providing that extra damage, that extra bit of CC, holding the Trundle in place and securing that kill. Very nice handed over, and as you say, over onto Rude Dude on this Jinx, the person we were highlighting in Champ Select, who could be the answer for Pogchimp's fairly stuttered start so far, I think it's fair to say.
Muppet's playing a little bit aggressive onto Holy Luck support, but might be the one in trouble. Here come the Chompers though, double Chomper down, but Raum does fall. It's going to be Pame Traveler there, but Holy has to run away. Pame Traveler chasing down Rudu. Rudu is 5, so no ult there, but not enough mana from the Caitlyn to get anything done. But that is a nice kill, 4-2 the score at 8 minutes.
Holy looks up, getting out there with a sliver of health. A lot of summoners used. Rude Dude didn't have the flash to try and chase down that kill, but hold that thought, we might be seeing engage in the top lane as Trundle pops up.
Gank here, but a very nice ultimate coming in from Aurelia alongside that flash keeps her safe.
Yeah, a lot of respect shown there, using the flash nice and early to just ensure there was no possibility of getting caught out and dragged back into lane. But Trundle is still hanging around, knows he hasn't been spotted up on this top side. Sejuani is nearby though, so the dive would be risky. Aatrox does have the World Ender, and we've just seen the Aurelia use the flash and her ultimate as well.
Sejuani blocked off by the Ice Pillar, but I don't imagine there'll be too much doing in this top lane right now. You don't want to be diving onto a Sejuani and an Aurelia onto tower at this stage in the game, as we just jump down towards bot lane.
Yeah, want a little bit more damage before you want to attempt something like that. But Corki is coming up, using the package.
He's got the damage you were talking about. Half health on the Sejuani, but the ultimate has been picked up at level 6 from Sedge. Awaken is up there as well. Pineapple taken low, taken down. Awaken picking up that one, and now the World Ender is rocking. Lego trying to get some damage in there, but it won't be enough. Amena picking up his 4th of the game, as we see Caitlyn trying to put the ace in the hole for a return kill. It's not going to be enough though, and some plates are being taken by Raw Reapers.
Lots of ultimates used there in that top side. The World Ender came out, the Trundle ultimate to sap those stats away. Penny's Pineapple went down very quickly, and Omena getting a lot of tower plates up in this top lane here. Trundle tanking it up, allowing him to just get a few more shots in. Will get 2, not managing to get the 3rd, but we're seeing in the mid lane trying to respond. Awaken will be taken low, forced to flash away from Leonardo and the Braum here. Will not lose his life though, and manages to only lose 1 tower plate as well. So we're not seeing Pogchimp get any great advantages out here, and they're losing resources across the board. Look to be pathing down towards this bot lane. Could catch out Royal Rumble here, only just moving away now.
Muppet might be the one on the cutoff. Lands the Winter's Bite, but he's not going to be able to do too much. The root won't land. It will land onto Lego on the backside, which leaves Muppet there to take up the ult himself. Stands on the trap. Will take some damage, but here comes Pineapple with enough damage to take down Holy Luck support. He goes down. Leonardo gifted that kill as Muppet and Leonardo have to move back. Pame Traveler might be hit with the ultimate. He will be hit with the ultimate. Here comes the Trumps to cut him off. Rooted, stunned, nowhere to go. He goes down. Muppet picking up that one as Penny's Pineapple looks to chase down onto Trundle. One more auto attack and the E will be enough to stun him up. The damage is there. Here comes the ultimate from Trundle to try and get a bit of sustain. Rudu's flashes straight into the minion wave, so not going to be able to get any more chasing going on there. But now Pogchimp, they do win that fight and manage to get a couple of plates in return.
That will feel very nice. They get a solid fight down in the bot lane in response to the losses in the top lane a second ago. Rude wasn't able to fire off that ultimate to finish off the Wonderboy as he was running away. Did use that at the start of the fight, but have to be careful here as Omena is coming in.
He picks up 1. Is he going for 2? Muppet on the backside fighting him as well. But Holy Luck Sport has gone low. Rude looking to get out or get even double kill off screen there from Mena, but Caracal will be able to pick up the kill on to Jinx without any trade. 9-4 at 11 minutes.
A massive response coming in from Royal Reapers immediately, punishing the overstaying of Pogchimp and moving the members back down with those teleports, with the roaming ability that they had, just getting in there and evening up that trade immediately. Payne Trevelya now able to just free fire onto this turret. Won't quite have enough damage to take it down, but they will be taking the Mountain Drake for themselves as well. So in that series of engages, we definitely saw Royal Reapers coming out on top, as in the mid lane, Leonardo is forced out again by this Corki. 6-0-1 at 12 minutes into this game. Yeah, definitely not a slight you want to do.
Just face check straight into Penny's Pineapple, who does get the stun of Caracal is there in support, but it won't be enough. Amena gets shut down. Penny's Pineapple might fancy himself for a second, looking for a little bit more damage. Just one more auto or a Q will be enough. The root does land and the plant is taken, but in the bot lane, Payne Trevelya gets the first tower at 12 minutes on that Caitlyn.
Will be able to get away from that Jinx as well. Rude Dude used the ultimate early to force more damage onto Wonderboy, hoping that Sejuani would be able to pick up that kill, but the Holy Lux support managed to get the good root off and save his life. Muppet moving into this jungle, trying to clear out some vision. Sejuani has got a nice red control ward onto the camp. Yeah, red buff camp as well, clearing out some of these raptors. Maintaining a bit of, trying to maintain what vision they can, get a bit more push priority. Leonardo getting himself another tower plate here, we'll see in the mid lane before Corki is able to clear out this wave. Might just be forced back early though. Doesn't quite manage to get it. That is very unfortunate. One auto would have secured it. 5 health away from falling on that tower plate, as we're seeing Sejuani look towards this Rift Herald here.
Sejuani is around, but so is Trundle. You can see Muppet has been very proactive this game in getting around and making sure that the support is there, because Sejuani Braum are somewhat of a power couple when it comes to CC. The Winter's Bite with the auto attacks followed by the E from Sejuani. It's really, really oppressive, and that's not including any of the other abilities. It's just their passive and their E. And their Q if you're saying Winter's Bite, I guess.
Yeah, it definitely is, because with them both stacking up off melee attacks, well, auto attacks for the Winter's Bite, but melee attacks for Sejuani's passive, it allows you just to layer them so perfectly. You let the Winter's Bite go off, and as soon as that wears off, you use the Frost to stun them up again. If you really want to go hard, you can then pair that with the ultimates for just that extra, we don't want you to move factor. So any squishy member that gets caught up in there, Omena on the Corki, Payne Trevelya on the Caitlyn here, that will be a death sentence for them unless they have some serious support from the Black Shield or other members helping them out.
Yeah, Morgana could be crucial in this game with that Black Shield. Might be the only thing that stands between a squishy carry and an early death in a team fight. People are moving around towards the mid lane now. Rift Herald was not taken as tower plates have just sloughed off. We do see a little bit, we see a 3k gold lead over on the side of Royal Reapers. Maybe not what we would have expected looking at the performances from the two teams in the first week. Royal Reapers, of course, going 0-2 with Pogchimp going 1-1. It's looking good for Royal Reapers right now, but with champions like Jinx and Aurelia, you really don't want to count out Pogchimp just yet. As the engage comes on Payne Trevelya, that's a really nice spell shield though, half health already. As the damage coming into Muppet, the shield won't be enough. It will be enough with the flash though, as he gets out with the fire burning. Penny's Pineapple might be the sacrifice though. Payne Trevelya getting up that one. Very, very well played to turn that one around from Royal Reapers. They turn a bad engage as the package comes in. Leonardo getting damaged, but so is Amena. He's chasing deep behind enemy lines, but he has got support. Leonardo gets out on a sliver of health. They might now look at the Rift Herald, but very well played from Royal Reapers.
30 health Leonardo managed to scrape out on, and very well played from Royal Reapers, like you were saying there indeed. 3 versus 4 against their favour in the mid lane. They managed to turn it around, take out Penny's Pineapple, and I think that was, like you were mentioning at the start of this match in the pause, that clutch ultimate, the Subjugate, coming out from the Trundle, stealing those tanky stats away from the Sejuani, leaving her in a very bad position in the face of all that damage. All of a sudden, Pogchimp had no front line to hide behind. The Jinx had to back away, and we're now seeing the Rift Herald is going to be summoned in this mid lane with 4 members sieging.
Yeah, and it's going to fall immediately to the Rift Herald. It doesn't look like they're going to commit too much to try and get a second charge off, as Rifty will fall after 1 tower, but that's all you really need. You cracked open the outer layer of towers and opened up the jungle if you're Royal Reapers. Now you need to move in there and try and start getting some more objectives and some more control, because Baron's up in 4 minutes.
Yeah, every single lane has lost its outer tower for Pogchimp. They are on the back foot, have to try and maintain their vision game to stop Royal Reapers moving into their jungle and setting up some ambushes and sneaky picks. Would be a very nice thing that they would want to try and do. Maybe find this Jinx or this Irelia when they're isolated, moving away from the rest of the team, rather than having to deal with them with all of the support from the other members. But won't be going for any of that yet. They take a bit of a reset, cash in some of these items. That is a Trinity Force and a BF Sword for the Corki now, a huge amount of damage, and the Infinity Edge has come through for the Caitlyn, helping that passive even more with the headshot damage.
Yeah, a lot of damage coming in from these two main damage dealers over on the side of Royal Reapers. You are seeing spikes being hit as well. Jinx is about to land up that cull with the Infinity Edge. That's going to be pretty brutal for her. You do see half-stacked Roa over on the rise as that Dragon will fall second mountain going over on the side of Royal Reapers. Ocean next, which is maybe not all that exciting. But I like to say this to my teams when we're losing in ranked. Even though the enemy team has hit their spikes, that just means that we haven't managed to hit our spikes yet. And imagine how good they're going to be when they've got all their items.
The Jinx is going to be very scary. Always, it's going to come down to a bit of positioning, how well they are able to keep out of the damage threats as to whether this Jinx or the Caitlyn is going to be more lethal. I've played against both of them, I'm sure we all have, in that late game where the Caitlyn and the Jinx are just running around one-tapping people. But Caitlyn might be caught out in this mid lane here.
Does use the flash to get away, but wasn't actually hit by the ultimate from SQ1, so that's a big ultimate used, but Caitlyn had to burn a lot of resources to get out of that one.
Yeah, very impressive disengage, using the 90 caliber net Emma flash, but another fight in mid.
Out of position. I'm going to have to cut you off as Muppet is taken low, and men are on the side looking to get the damage. Muppet jumps in to take the bullet for his marksman though, as the rest of Royal Reapers look to siege up. You can see on the top side Awaken on that minimap looking for a flank as they do siege down this tower. I think Awaken might be looking for something, manages to catch up onto Leonardo, looking for the knock-up, does not land it though, and it's just going to be the tower taken for now.
Forcing Pogchimp away from this tower, using the power that they currently have. They do have a 5k gold lead, and they're using all of those extra stats that gold has bought them to try and brute force these towers up. And they have a nice composition to siege with. The Caitlyn able to poke down, the Morgana a lot of area denial and zoning potential with the tainted ground. And they're going to just back away, try and get some more resources. No Baron for them to take at the minute, no Dragon will be up, but moving through the jungle, clearing everything out, and just really trying to choke Pogchimp away, not letting them have anything on this map to work with.
Yeah, Pogchimp are really going to have to be able to find either a very, very good team fight, and as we've seen, even if they land a CC, it's not always the best fights for them at this stage with that gold deficit, or they're going to have to pull out some very clever macro play in order to bring themselves back into this one, but I don't know if I fancy them there either. It's going to be all about how Royal Reapers decide to try and choke this one out. As you said, are they going to go to side lanes or are they going to look at Baron in a couple of minutes?
I would imagine if you are a member of this Royal Reapers roster, you are looking towards a Baron at this point. You want to try and get some control of this top side of the map, push out that top wave, push out that mid wave, get some vision set up, and then group up around it. But we can't count out Pogchimp just yet. We said in the draft phase that the game plan was going to around the split pushing, around this 1-3-1 composition, and although it is bad that they've lost these towers, that they have all these waves pushing in towards them, on the flip side, it makes it a lot safer for them to pick up this CS. They're not having to overextend, they're not at too much risk from being picked off by these members of Royal Reapers, so they might be able to, if they can stall the game out, pick up some more CS as we see it invade on the jungle.
Pineapple might be no, he's not in too much trouble. He is quite a tanky boy on that Sejuani. I'm going to force him away though. We did see the package used. We also saw the ace in the hole used by Royal Reapers. So they've lost out on a couple of ultimates trying to catch up members of Pogchimp, but they're not the longest in terms of cooldowns. Of course, you really like that package, but it runs down anyway. So not too much lost there, as we do see both teams posturing around this Baron, as you said, trying to get onto it. But it's definitely Royal Reapers who have control over this objective at the moment.
Yeah, not wanting to commit to it just yet though, not feeling quite strong enough. It would be nice if they could try and bait out the Irelia's TP. We can see her and the Aatrox have moved down to the bottom lane of the map. Might be seeing an engage here as more posturing, trying to get some vision for Pogchimp, and the Royal Reapers will start up this Baron now as a control ward is dropped into the back of the pit. Pogchimp will be aware of this and trying to collapse inwards.
Morgana tanking up that tower might be pretty big actually, half health on the squishy support, and you need her in these fights for that spell shield. Now, it looks like Royal Reapers have given up control of the Baron pit. They're looking to reset as members of Pogchimp do turn up, clearing out some of the vision and trying to get themselves a little bit of priority over that objective.
Yeah, taking the damage from the Baron there as they started it up was just enough to dissuade them away. Didn't want to take that fight all of a sudden in the 4v4 when a lot of their members were on 75% health or lower. Still looking to try and maintain control around the area, but a fight in the mid lane.
Muppet took a reasonable amount of damage from Mena there, considering he's a very tanky guy with his shield up. A lot of damage coming out from Amena on this Corki still, as we do see Royal Reapers re-engaging onto the Baron. There's no vision on it over on the side of Pogchimp, but they're pretty sure that they're doing it. Have now seen it with that zap. It's on 5k, going down to 4k. Caracal's going low, has to move out of the pit though. This could be problematic as Panisse Pineapple's the only jungler in the pit right now. Caracal's coming back in as the fight ensues. I want to look at this Baron though. It's on 2k. Panisse Pineapple's forced to flash out. And now Caracal's going to look to secure this one. Lego over the side though. Will it be stolen? It's not going to be stolen. Caracal's securing that one as we do see the fight breaking out down there. Amena picks up the kill onto Leonardo first one as Rudu is caught out. The ultimate from Braum might keep him alive for a little bit longer, but Pain Traveler's going to be one on picking him up. Ace in the Hole's going to land straight into the shield of Muppet, but the flash from Caracal should secure a kill onto Lego. Very nice stun, but jumps back in to her death. Now we're going to see it on Panisse Pineapple. That's the 4th kill. Can they pick up the ace? Muppet is running for his life. The flash from Awaken will be enough. Ace taken over by Holy Luck support. They've got Baron. There are no members of Pogchimp left. This is going to be big things for Royal Reapers.
And it is 10 seconds until the next member of Pogchimp can get back up. Varese does have a TP, won't be needing it because this wave is pushing into his base, knocking at the door. Royal Reapers want to come in, they want to take your inhibitors. The top tower will be falling pretty much instantly. They will be able to force this inhibitor, but not getting too much else. The rest of Pogchimp will be getting back up, but a really nice push there off the back of that fight around Baron. Nothing lost for that objective at all. Still have flash on the Corki and on the Caitlyn, which allow them to play aggressively there and just really clean play across the board. I want to highlight the Sejuani diving into that pit. Like you said, they got the vision on the Baron, they knew its health because of the zap from the Jinx. I think Panisse Pineapple went in a little bit too early, got a little bit too nervous there, not really managing to hold off and wait until the Baron was lower, wanted to try and attempt the steal then. Forced to flash away because all of the members of Royal Reapers immediately disengaged from the Baron, stopped hitting it and focused on the members of Pogchimp. Really good discipline from Royal Reapers. They stayed calm under pressure and it netted them a massive advantage as we are now 10k gold ahead at 24 minutes for them.
Yeah, it should also be said as they're taking Dragon, as soon as that Baron was taken during that fight, 4 members immediately go top to pick up the tower and the inhibitor. But what we didn't see on our big screens, but we saw down on the minimap, Awaken instantly goes mid with that Baron buff and manages to pick up a second inhibitor tower. Of course, the inhibitor doesn't fall, but now that one is open for the taking if a member of Royal Reapers wants to get in there while the rest of the team push bot. You can see that Amena is sticking around the mid lane as the rest of his team is now bot side, trying to pick up the last inner tower of the game for Royal Reapers.
Yeah, and with these 2 Mountain Drakes that they picked up earlier in the game, these towers will not be standing for long. We mentioned how good Caitlyn is at sieging. With those traps, you can see her laying them down now, prevents any kind of engage from the side of Pogchimp, and she's able to siege and clear minions at such a distance, just forcing them back into their base, not giving them a lot of options. Like you said, Omena pressuring in this mid lane on McCorkey is able to take that inhibitor down very quickly himself and also disengage with the dash that he has, so a fairly safe option to siege it.
Okay, we're going to see the fight here as the minions are cracking open the Nexus. Caracal's taking the tower shots. Muppet goes low, goes down first. Pain Traveler picking up that one as Lego's in the backline, but it's not going to be enough. He's going to fall. Pain Traveler kicking up him before he can kill Morgana. Ruju's going to take the ace in the hole, but it's not going to be enough. Awaken is on the warpath, but will be resurrecting. The Nexus towers have already fallen, though. Amena on the back door managed to get both before going down, but now Caracal is the next target. Ruju will fall to Pain Traveler as the root lands on the Sejuani. We do see Rise going down as well. And at the 25-minute mark, Royal Reapers pick up their first win of the split.
That will be the ace, that will be the game. In a 4v5 team fight at the end there, Royal Reapers come out ahead, they claim their victory. Well deserved, very clean play throughout the entire game, very controlled, very disciplined, and it is unfortunately going to be Pogchimp going away with the loss there. Not able to get over the line and not able to get their team composition to where it needed to be to execute on those win conditions that we set out for them in the early game draft.
Yeah, very, very clean gameplay there from Royal Reapers. Commiserations to Pogchimp, but there are loads and loads more games left in the SQ1 Champions League season, so they'll be able to pick up some W's across the board, but not in this game. I'd like to thank you all very much for watching this game with us in the SQ1 Champions League. I've, of course, been Viper, and I was joined by the Sarge, and we hope to see you again very, very soon for more League of Legends.